So welcome everybody to this short video from the School of Science and Engineering at University of Dundee. So I'm Professor Fordyce Davidson, I'm Professor of Mathematics, I'm the Deputy Dean of the school, and I'm joined with by my colleagues here who will introduce themselves very shortly. Now, the School of Science and Engineering, we offer programs that range from anthropology through computing, physics and mathematics to engineering. But what's common is the support that we give to our students. And really that's the focus of today's this very, very short video. So let's just get cracking. Helen, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Helen Langstaff. I work in CARHID, which is the Centre for Anatomy and Human Identification, but I'm here today because I'm the Senior Advisor of Studies. So that means that I'm basically in charge of lots of our staff who are advisors of studies in the school. So that's my main role.
Okay, thanks. And Tracy?
Oh, hi, my name's Tracy Wilkinson. I'm the Professor of Anatomy here, but I'm also the Associate Dean for Learning and Teaching. And that means I have sort of overall responsibility for the learning and teaching and students in the School of Science and Engineering.
Super. So what we're going to just chat about over the next 10 or so minutes are the various support systems that we have in place, as I said. So Tracy and Helen are in their offices at the moment, and we can see some of the University of Dundee buildings. These are in fact some of our physics buildings just behind me here. Yet another blue sunny day as always in Dundee. In fact, you know, it's a glorious city to study in and to work in. Dundee is on the east coast of Scotland. The weather's very, very pleasant. The city's just that perfect size, the Goldilocks city. So our students feel it's big enough to get all the excitement of being part of a city environment, but small enough so that they feel that they can really feel part of that city and get around it easily by foot or by bike. So our students come to Dundee, they have a super time, that's for sure. They enjoy all the facilities that we offer here, both at the university and in the wider city. But when you're studying, you're always needing a bit of support. It's always good to get support from your fellow students and from staff. And really, Helen, can you tell us a little bit more about this advisor of studies role, how that helps support our students through their study?
Yeah, so on the very first day you arrive with us, you'll be allocated an advisor of studies, and that will be a staff member from within the discipline that you're in. So if you're in engineering, it'll be an engineer. If you're in maths, it'll be one of our maths lecturers. And so you get allocated to that particular person, and they will be your advisor for the continuation of your degree. If that's 4 or 5 years, they will be your advisor for that whole time. So you've got one person who you're able to go to, who may or may not teach you during your time there, but they're more there for the kind of pastoral support, but they understand your subject as well. So you will be allocated to them on day one. You'll meet them in that very first week, so you know who they are, where you can find them, and all of that kind of thing. And what we do is we allocate you in small groups of students. So you will be allocated to that particular advisor in a small group of up to 12 students. And generally in your first and second year, you'll meet with that advisor and that group of students. So it's also a really great way to meet some other students who are on your course or a parallel course to yours. So because obviously often on some of our bigger courses, you might be in a class and there's just, you know, lots and lots of people to get to know. So it's great to have these smaller groups that you meet regularly, that you're able to get to know students as well as the advisor. And what the advisor's there to do is just support you both in your academic life and in your pastoral life. So if you've got things like choices of modules that you need to make as part of your degree, they will help advise you on that. So they'll help you think about what do you want to do in the future, and therefore which modules might be best for you to choose. But they'll also there if you're just having a bit of a tough time, be that with your academic work or just in life generally, because that always happens to all of us at various points. They're the ones that can point you in the right direction. So they might themselves not be able to provide support, but they'll be able to point you in that right direction for it.
Yeah, so they're that touch point that you're able to connect you through then to either further support within the school or indeed to the very large network of support we have across the university. Yeah. You mentioned there that you know where to find the staff. So staff are back in their offices. That's the plan. Yeah.
So staff will be a bit different depending on the staff member and also the particular day and things like that. But these meetings will happen either in person or online, but that's kind of a discussion between the advisor and those students particularly. And as well as those group meetings, at any point you're able to contact that advisor and chat to them in a way that you want to. So if that's an online meeting you prefer, that's fine. If a phone call is what you'd want, they can have a phone call, or you can come in and meet them. If for some reason you can't meet your own advisor, there is always someone available on campus for you to meet. So if you had an emergency or something like that and you just needed to talk to someone, then I'm available, and we've got some of our office staff as well available, that if you desperately need to talk to someone straight away, we'd find someone for you to talk to about anything. So yeah, there's always practical support face to face or online, whatever kind of suits you best.
Yeah, it's good to have that flexibility, isn't it, there, so that folks can get the support in a way that best suits them in this situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tracy, we've heard a lot on the programme clips of the Open Day here about active blended learning. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about how the programmes in the School of Science and Engineering are delivered.
Okay, so the University of Dundee is going down the active blended learning approach, and that's really offers a mix of different activities for the students. So some of the material that is available to you will be made available online, and that has the flexibility of you being able to work through the material whenever you feel like it. You can stop, start, re-look at things. So it has that flexibility of being that online learning material. And there is all subjects will provide some of their material through that particular area. The other things are that if you do come in, and we will be having face-to-face sessions, things like tutorials and workshops, and obviously when the School of Science and Engineering, a lot of our programs are particularly practical. So for things like anatomy, forensic anthropology, and some of the engineering subjects, there will be practicals offered and you'll be coming in. So for example, in anatomy, it might be dissection, in engineering, it might be building something, and many of those practical elements will be done in the university, where you'll have access, direct face-to-face access with your lecturers and with your staff members who are looking after those programs. In terms of workshops, there may be different interactive activities where you'll be involved in actually doing something, or in tutorials where you'll be reviewing the material that you've learned online and then going through it with a lecturer. I think it's important to emphasize that we're really encouraging our students to come back to campus this year so that they can make the most of these face-to-face opportunities with their staff members. And remember, Helen's talked about the advisory studies. Remember, we're a university who pride ourselves on looking after our students. So any issues, academic, or something about modules that you're studying, you're welcome to write to the module and program lead, and then just ask for help with anything that you're having difficulty with. And of course, those tutorials, workshops, and practicals are opportunities for you to go up to your staff members and ask them questions about the academic material that you've been looking through either at home or indeed then.
Yeah, it's that kind of informal opportunity, isn't it, for connection that's so important. Is the chance of just catching the lecturer at the end of the tutorial, whatever, or sticking your hand up and asking a question, or indeed, working with other students in the classroom, and then just sort of sharing problems, group work. That's very much part of learning, isn't it? So a really important part of being back on campus. Helen, sorry, Tracy.
I was just going to say that a couple of other things, we do also have, there will be some sessions in some subject areas which are what we call synchronous online, and what that means is that the lecturer or the staff member will be there, but you might have some of your lessons where you're actually taught online. The other thing that we are offering this year is what we call a hybrid classroom, and that does give the opportunity for some of you who, for health reasons or other reasons, absolutely cannot come back to campus to actually access the classroom remotely. Now, there are some programs where we are making it compulsory for you to come back to university, where the elements that are face-to-face are essential, but there are some programs where it is possible at least to be able to sit at home, although I do, as I say, encourage everybody to come back to campus. That university feel, the community, meeting your fellow students, having fun with societies and all these other activities, as well as the academic side of it. University should be fun, and if you can come back to campus and enjoy the wonderful facilities that Dundee and the university have to offer, it should be a really nice experience this year.
Yeah, we're all excited about that, I think, aren't we? But that, I mean, there have been very few positives that have come out of this period, but I guess one of those is that the mechanisms that mean we can connect through the internet, we can meet in different sorts of ways, does help us with our aim to be as inclusive and as accessible as possible for everybody to be able to experience what we've got going on here. Helen, we've talked a bit about the support that Advisor of Studies give. We've touched on the fact that being part of that student group, that student community, working in teams and so on, that gives you a lot of, that also adds support. But there's something which is a more formal system of getting students together, isn't it? Is it the buddy system?
Yeah, so we encourage, it works alongside a number of our societies. So as part of our school, there's lots of societies. So our Carhead students have got the Our Head Society, and we've got various societies that we kind of partner with as a school throughout. And what we encourage them to do, and we help them to kind of formalise, is having a families or a buddies system. So if you come in as a first year, you can apply to this and say, I'd like to get a buddy or be part of a family, and we'll connect you with either people on your course or people just within the school. You can kind of choose which one you want, and it just gives you somebody who's older than you on the course, so who's maybe been through what you're about to go through, whether that's a second or a third or a fourth year, and they're just there to partner with you, and it's completely informal. We don't kind of prescribe what you need to do with them, but you get matched with somebody, and they're there just to guide you through those things and be that kind of older person to ask questions of. So when you don't know where a particular room is, you can send them a quick message and be like, I've got to go to this classroom, where is it? Or you're doing your first bit of coursework and you're like, I just don't know what to do. I don't know where to hand this in. What am I meant to do? They're a great person to kind of just ask those questions of, but also just socialise with as well, because they'll also know all the good haunts in Dundee, where to hang out and all of those kind of things. So it's just a kind of way of formally introducing you to one of the older students who you wouldn't necessarily meet in classes because they'll be in a different year group to you, but they should be able to pass on some of their wisdom and knowledge to you, and it just gives you a little bit of support there. And actually our older students really enjoy it as well, because they're able to kind of give all that information that they've learned over the last year or so, and provide you with that bit of support. And some people tend to just kind of do this for a year. Some of our buddies, we see them kind of 3-4 years down the line and they're really great friends. Some of them end up living together and form houses with them and stuff like that in following years. So it's a really great system that can run across all of our courses as well. So, and that's partnered with a number of societies that are linked to our school. So
Okay,
it's a great
yeah,
system.
so yeah, more networks, and it is often the case that most frightening things are the things you just don't quite know about, and if there's somebody there that's, as you say, has done it just before you, they can maybe share their experiences and show that it's not quite as terrifying as you might have first thought. Yes, knowing where the best coffee and cake is in the town, that's always the key thing, isn't it? So, but there's also a sort of formal part of that within the first year education, isn't it? Part of the learning and teaching part.
Yeah, so as part of your first year and then running into your second year, you do an additional module. So you'll do all your course modules that are to do with whatever discipline you're looking at, with engineering or maths or computing. So you'll have lots of teaching on those. But you'll also do, all of our students across the school will also do something called a personal development planning module. And that's a very small module, so it doesn't take up a lot of your time. And that is part of that is you meeting your advisor of studies in those groups of students. So you'll meet twice a semester with that advisor and that group of students and just chat through issues and things like that. Maybe they'll just ask you how you're all going. Maybe if something is coming up in your particular degree, exams are coming up, they'll maybe talk through those and how you might approach them and that kind of thing. And alongside that, you do some of this online learning, again, like Tracy mentioned, it's in your own time alongside that, and you do things like, so we give you a bit of direction on how to manage your time well, so that you don't get overwhelmed by everything at the end of semester, how to write formally and things like that. So how do we do scientific writing and referencing and things that might have just changed a bit from school? So we try and teach everyone those things. We also get you to look at finances and planning and budgeting and things like that, as well as like, how do I revise for exams and things like that. And we know that might be quite a scary prospect for a lot of you because you haven't done exams. So it's going to be a big new thing, because normally you'd have come in and you'd have had exams for the last few years, and we know a number of you haven't. So that will be one of those emphasis as well. So you're able to work through this small amount of work online and then chat it through with that small group of students and your advisor. We run that for 2 years. So it means that you regularly meet that advisor and should get to know them. And then in our 3rd, 4th, 5th year, then it's up to you when you meet your advisor when you need to. So some people meet them regularly, some people meet them very occasionally, but they're there still for you after those years. But at least means you've got to know them, and you've got to know that group of students as well.
So it seems to be there's a really nice mix of that sort of informal support system through the student, the families, and also just meeting and talking to your lecturers, the program leads and the advisors. But then that's also worked into the program. So really there's every opportunity to reach out and get that support, get connected to the support networks. Yeah. Tracy, we've got the program leads as well. I mean, this is another set of folks who are in charge of the academic programs, aren't they? And we were just talking earlier about the fact that we're online for this visit today, but I understand that the program leads would be delighted to chat to anybody. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, apart from the very sort of informal relationship you have with your advisor of studies, there are plenty of other people that you can ask for academic help from. You know, the module leads are the people who run each module within a program. So they're probably your first port of call if you need academic assistance with that. You know, then there's a program lead who runs the entire program with all the modules in it. And then above that, you've got the learning and teaching cluster leads. So we have learning and teaching cluster leads who actually run perhaps a suite of programs. So there's a variety, and then, you know, eventually you might end up with me as the Associate Dean of Learning and Teaching. So there's a hierarchy of people that you can go to and access for academic help. And I really strongly recommend you do that. You know, we do pride ourselves on looking after the students. So if there's something, you know, don't be worried about, oh, you know, I'm new to university, I can't ask anybody for academic help. Yes, you can. You know, start off with the module lead, send them an email, or as I say, as Dice was talking about earlier, informally catch them at the practical workshops. You know, ask those questions. You know, you're at university, you should be making the most of it, and you shouldn't be worried about being overwhelmed, as Helen was talking about. Just make sure that you do use those people effectively, ask them the questions. You know, we really don't mind being asked questions. We're quite happy to help out students, and it does show that you're engaging with the material, which is very nice for us as well.
Sure, absolutely. No, nothing better than an excited and questioning student, for sure. Yeah, that makes our job worthwhile. That's for sure. So thanks very much. This has been short, but I think what we've been able to do is give a flavour of the kind of support that we offer in the School of Science and Engineering for our students. That support networks into the wider university support. So we have the opportunity to, I think, make the very most of your time here and very most of your studies here at Dundee. Listen, so it's been yet another tricky year, hasn't it, for all of us? And we're doing this online, but please do feel free to contact any of us, Helen, Tracy, myself, the contacts you're given through the other open day events. Please do feel free to contact the school with any questions you might have. We can also organise campus tours. I believe there's a special place where you can book an online, on-campus, physical campus tour. And if you are coming on campus, what we'll do is we'll make sure that we know that you're a student who's interested in science and engineering, and we will try our very best to have a member of staff come and meet you on your campus tour so that we can answer any questions that you may have. Anyway, thanks again for your time and hope to see you soon. Bye now.
Bye.